Tennessee Volunteers have just made their way out onto the field. The tradition of running through the T formed by the University of Tennessee Marching Band. The cannons firing. Smoky 7, the blue tick coonhound has come out. We've seen the Tennessee walking horse, Old Dobbin, out for the first time on the natural turf. And now here come the Washington State Cougars, led by Butch and company. And a typical greeting as you see Philip Fulmer, the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, on the sidelines. Fulmer says his team is struggling right now, expecting bad things to happen. He hopes to turn that around. Good things have been happening to the Washington State Cougars and their head coach Mike Price, coaching today in his 150th game as a head coach, his 60th at Washington State, and the Cougars are 30-29 under the tutelage of Mike Price. The Volunteers leading this series. Washington State won in a big way the last time these teams got together in 1988. That, too, was an October 1st game. A lot of parallels between 1988 and 1994 for Washington State.
Well, the thing that is a little bit different this time, instead of coming in with a high-powered offense like we did with Rosie and the 5 touchdowns that he threw up that October 1st last meeting in '88, this time we come up with a very strong defense that I think matches up very well against this Volunteer offense that has a young quarterback at the helm, and they need to establish the run in order to give him, Peyton Manning, a little bit of time to throw today. Otherwise, the Cougars can do what they did last week, which is disrupt and make the offense out of sync like they did at UCLA.
This truly is one of the more breathtaking scenes for college football. 95,000 people will be here. You saw a good bit of the spattering of orange throughout the stadium. The official capacity of Neyland Stadium is 91,109, but about 95,000 shoehorn their way in here on game day, and the stadium is going to be expanded in 1996, and they'll end up with about 104,000 able to get in here on game day. This, along with the University of Washington's Husky Stadium, the only 2 stadiums where you can make your way in by boat. And there are some of the Cougar faithful who are here. There's a group of about 500 Cougar fans who gathered at Calhoun's directly across the street from the stadium. A lot of them coming down from Washington, D.C. The Cougars won the toss and deferred, and it will be Tennessee football as we get things started.
We'll be able to see right away the defense on the field as Mike Price and his group elect to showcase a little bit here in front of this group the outstanding defense that's played just great all year.
At least they didn't do what Miami did against the University of Washington. Miami actually won the toss, and instead of saying we defer, the Miami captain said we'll kick off. And so he gave Washington the choice twice, and the Huskies ended up with a football to start each half. It is very, very loud here in Neyland Stadium, and Washington State will try to do what they were able to do in 1988, which is take the crowd out of it early. And everybody on their feet, pounding their feet on the floor of the stadium and creating a rumbling effect as we're just about set for football. Tony Truant will boot it away for Washington State. The Cougars have done a very nice job of kick coverage this year. The Vols, Nilo Sylvan, the main threat. He will be at the bottom of your screen. Wears number 83. Also deep for Tennessee, Kendrick Jones, an outstanding wide receiver who caught a 76-yard touchdown pass from Peyton Manning in the loss last week to Mississippi State. And we're ready for football at exactly 4 o'clock Eastern time as Truant hits a knuckleball that will bounce around, and this is Jones who finally gets the handle and gets to the 25 before he's buried by some Washington State Cougars. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. The best offensive line in the nation, says the Sporting News, anchored by the right guard Jeff Smith. Bubba Miller has been a longtime starter at center. Smith all SEC a year ago. Joey Kent, a gimpy ankle, may not be in the lineup much. We'll keep an eye on that. James Stewart, number 4, all-time leading rusher for Tennessee. Mose Phillips, the fullback. Peyton Manning, the true freshman at quarterback. And this is Stewart, who knifes forward for a gain of about 4 yards on that first down play. Stewart, known as Little Man, nickname that his dad gave him, not because of his size. He's 6'1", 218, a senior out of Morristown, Tennessee. It'll be second and a long 6. Peyton Manning, 17 for 28 in his career. Couple of touchdowns and interception. 6'5", 207-pound freshman out of New Orleans. And on the ground again goes Stewart. Tries to get outside and does. And Singor Mobley runs him out of bounds, but first, the Tennessee first down. Washington State will be tested up front. As you see, Tennessee will try to run it against Chad Eaton, Donnie Sasa, Dwayne Patterson, Todd Shaw starting in place of Dwayne Sanders, who is not on the trip. Mark Fields with an injured ankle. James Darling getting the start there. Also, Ray Jackson's been bothered by the flu bug, so it's Brian Walker who is in the starting secondary for Washington State. As I mentioned, a lot of changes on both sides of the football for each team because of the flu bug and injuries. First down for Tennessee, and Manning to throw for the first time. And he's got Kendrick Jones, who was hit immediately and dropped. Nice defensive play by Brian Walker, the 6'1", 180-pound junior out of Snow Junior College. How important, Cleet, is it for Manning to have completed this first pass?
Well, this just helps shakes the bugs out a little bit. He's going to come up the line of scrimmage and just do the two-step drop and fire it out to the wide receiver, Kendrick Jones, Stumpy Jones, 5'8".
Kendrick has a middle name that you probably wouldn't want to have as a receiver, DeMilo. His hands are better than Venus's, though. 3 wide receivers left for the Volunteers. Manning perhaps audibilizing as the Cougars come up and show blitz. Let's see if they come after the freshman. He just does get the count off. A little play action and has time. Throwing it deep, and he overthrows his intended receiver, Nilo Sylvan.
This is a type of defense that you don't see much down here in the SEC, but it's something in the Pac-10 that's been really put forth by Washington Huskies and also by Arizona. And they came up, everybody on the line of scrimmage except for rushing the free safety, right in their face, challenging the receivers, bumping them off their routes a little bit. And that time, that's what Singor Mobley did real well, is throw him off his route, make him run around, and the ball just, the timing wasn't there.
The Cougars have the confidence to play man-to-man in the secondary and can afford to blitz. Out of the shotgun goes Tennessee. And Manning calling the signals. Here comes the rush. And he throws it away, and it's intercepted. Ron Childs with the interception. They'll say no, it hit the ground. And Childs and Torrey Hunter can't believe it. But it's a third down stop by Washington State. The Cougars are amazing on third down. Opponents converting just 11% of their third down tries.
Donnie Sasa and Eaton coming up the middle. Patterson forces Manning, and it looked like they almost got to Manning. He throws up a prayer. That's a freshman mistake. And that looks like a catch. That looks like, oh, that's a tough one. He had his hands underneath the ball, but bounced off the shoulder pads. The referee was right there for the call, so fourth down, and Hutton will punt it away.
Tom Hutton, an outstanding punter. The Volunteers didn't have enough men on the field and quickly get the personal protector in. The snap is perfect, and Hutton left foots it away. As driving spiral. This is a good kick. Dumas at the 11. And knifes his way through, and Washington State will have good field position to start off at their 29 following the return by Jay Dumas. So Washington State last in the Pac-10 in total offense. Mark McCloskey at center. Reed and Reese on the right side. Ron Lewis has got a banged up shoulder. We'll watch closely to see how much he is able to play. You saw Jay Dumas on the punt return. Derek Sparks in the backfield. You may not see Kevin Hicks because of the ankle injury that was suffered against UCLA. And there's Chad Davis, 6'2", 200-pound sophomore out of San Diego. You see the numbers. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The efficiency ranking for Davis has gone up. He's moved up in the Pac-10 in that category. And he will try to execute the game plan that will be signaled in by that man, Mike Price.
1994.
Talked to Chad a little bit in the hotel lobby just this morning, and he's just sitting back grooving on some tunes, and all he said to me is, oh, we're just going to go out there and take a W home. So he's got the cool confidence that you need in front of a big crowd like this. Sometimes you can get too jazzed up as a quarterback, and he was pretty laid back. Just wanted to go out and win the ball game.
Davis has moved up to number 5 in the Pac-10 in passing efficiency, and that's because of the fact he's been able to get a couple of touchdowns and also taking better care of the football than the Cougars did in the opener against Illinois and against Fresno State. 1st and 10, Washington State. Their first possession from the 29. They work against a Tennessee defense that had 8 men on the line of scrimmage initially, and Davis very quickly to Albert Kennedy, and Kennedy makes the catch, and that's a good gain of about 8 yards on that first down play. Washington State will try to take advantage against the Tennessee secondary that is number 95 out of 107 NCAA Division I teams in pass defense.
Tennessee is shaking up their lineup to get a little more pressure on the quarterback, and nice job by the offense picking up the interior people, giving Chad just enough time to drop 3 and pump.
Sparks in the backfield, second and a long one. That's Kearney Adams in motion. Little counter play to Sparks, and he's got the first down. Talking to George Yarno, one of the offensive line coaches, and John McDonnell, the offensive coordinator, by watching Tennessee's defense on videotape, they felt that counter would be effective, and it was there.
Well, they like to come up field hard, and what that does is leave the defensive end kind of alone. If he steps up 2-3 yards, guys like Lewis can pick him off, and nice hard running by Sparks. You know, Sparks is starting to come along a little bit. You could tell in the first couple games he's a little bit hesitant, but there he did a nice job of heading north and south, picking up the first down.
Only 2.7 yards goes Davis. Sparks block. Davis throws the out. And nice defensive play by Ronald Davis. Tennessee, who had a couple of interceptions against Mississippi State last week. He closed quickly on Carpenter.
Back in the shotgun, and allows a little quarterback. Long throw here. Took a long time to get there, but ball there, making sure that Ron Davis couldn't beat him to the spot. Not a lot on first down, but good little pickup. 2nd and 6 now. 4th catch of the year for Chad Carpenter out of Weiser, Idaho.
Trips to the left for Washington State. On the ground to Sparks. Huge hole. That's Frank Madu who's in the lineup and gets across midfield to about the 45 of Tennessee, and that was a huge hole.
Well, one of the things that Frank Madu really brings to this backfield is excellent quickness, and here you see beating, I believe it's Taylor right there, through the hole, picking up enough for the first down, and Cougars are now in Tennessee territory.
Frank Manu, 5'9", 170-pound junior out of McAteer High School in San Francisco. Nobody in the backfield. 5 wide receivers for the Cougars. Let's see what Tennessee does here. They don't show blitz. They come with a base rush. Davis has room to run. Gets a block from Kennedy, but not actually Shaheed Evans, and that helps him pick up another couple of yards, but not much, as the Tennessee secondary did a nice job that time on the Cougar nobody in the backfield set.
Got a little penetration, and Chad had to roll to his left. Tennessee was confused as you see White, Steve White, the big defensive end, get in on side, but that's not a bad decision by Chad there. Threatening here and able to move it upfield. Flag on the play, though, and I think that might have been holding.
We have holding, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul against the offense. Repeat first down.
Dick Burleson, the referee, and all SEC crew working this afternoon's contest. Mike Price's team has done a better job with the flags this year. They have not been as penalized as much as past years, but they're back at their own 40-yard line now following that flag. 1st and 25. Little pitch this time to Madu, and he picks up another 5 yards.
Cougar offensive line opening up some nice little holes, 5-6 yards a pop in the running game, and the Cougars can do that. That sets up play action. Here you see again big Ron Lewis and Sanderson pulling out to the side, and just enough room to squeak through. First down, brings up 2nd and about 20 yards here.
Frank Madu, good speed. Terry Fair is starting at one cornerback for Tennessee in place of Deron Jenkins, a 3-year starter who's had a groin problem and has not played much lately. A little UCLA-type draw out of the shotgun, and Madu uses that speed to get outside, but it doesn't get him anything. Good pursuit by the Volunteer defense that time. A Clete, that's a play we've never seen from Washington State before, much of this year especially. Is that something that was successful by UCLA against Tennessee, so the coaches said, give it a try?
It's just another way to get Frank Madu the ball, use his quickness on a second and long type of thing. Again, Mike's being maybe a little more conservative than he has been in years past, knowing what type of defense he has. And the Cougars are going to have to call timeout a little bit to talk things over.
Clay Reese appeared to be having some sort of an equipment problem, so Davis will talk with Mike Price, facing a 3rd and 21. We're scoreless, 5.5 minutes into the first quarter of football here in Knoxville. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Sonny is due.
That's right. He's doing a good job. Keep it up.
Little miscommunication by Sparks and Chad Davis on 3rd and 21. And Sparks out of the backfield. All kinds of running room. Here come the Volunteers closing. Not enough for a first down, but a good gain that will give Washington State an opportunity here with a good punt to get the field in their favor in the field position battle.
Again, a pretty conservative call. Here's White coming up, pressured. Just dump it over the top. That's the right read. And you'll see Derek again. That's what I like to see, is him hitting it up there, throwing his 200+ pounds around. Cougars have to punt, though.
Good snap to George Martin. Martin kicks a wobbler that hits at the 7 and just does roll into the end zone. Martin almost had it pegged, and we've got a flag back at the line of scrimmage. Depending on the flag, it will be Tennessee ball at the 20. Mark Pimisker hustling down to try to down that one.
That's against the Cougars.
It's against Washington State, and it looks like Tennessee will decline it. Some Cougars who have played in a number of consecutive games in the starting lineup. John Rushing, the longest of the streaks. Dwayne Patterson has been very effective.
I would say you could call Dwayne Patterson very effective. He has just done a stellar job his senior season here, and if he keeps up this, I don't think there'll ever be a Cougar to catch his career sack record. He has just done an outstanding job from his left defensive end position.
Marcus Nash, a true freshman, is in it, wide receiver for Tennessee on this first down play. This is the handoff to the number 2 tailback, Aaron Hayden, a senior out of Detroit, and he didn't get much. James Stewart is nicknamed Little Man. Aaron Hayden, who hasn't had a chance to see as much playing time as he would like, has given himself a nickname. He says, my name is Aaron. I'd like to play a little, man.
Just
Hayden.
a little. Just a little, man. Actually, these guys just about split time.
And he found the going tough against that Cougar defense. Gain of a yard. 2nd and 9 from the 21 for Tennessee. And they'll try Hayden again, and that time he knifes through on an opening, and John Rushing with the nice tackle, the senior out of Merced making the hit at the 26. So now it's another 3rd down situation for the Volunteers.
Tennessee will come in, bringing back in David Horn, who is the most effective out of the tight end position as far as catching the ball.
Jones, Nash, and Courtney Epps, the wide receivers. Horn lines up in a little slot position, presumably to block on the outside as Manning rolls and gets the pass out to Epps, who couldn't hang on. Had it right in his hands and was looking for somewhere to go. There were a lot of white jerseys there, and he couldn't hang on to the ball.
That's a play designed to take advantage of Dwayne Patterson's aggressiveness. Problem is, Ronnie Childs is just as aggressive, and I think Epps saw number 31 flashing out of the corner of his eyes. He would have got drilled if he had caught that ball. So a nice defensive stand there again by the defense, not allowing much at all.
Manning now 1 for 4 through the air. And that one for a gain of only 2 yards. Tom Hutton to punt it away. The snapper is Mark Holland. He's a senior. He has never had a bad snap on a punt, field goal, or extra point attempt. Shorter kick by Hutton that bounces for Washington State, and the Cougars will begin their second drive with excellent field position. The ball will be on their own 42. Scoreless so far in the first quarter, 6:40 to go in that first quarter. We take time out. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Second offensive possession for Chad Davis and the Washington State Cougars. Begins from their own 42-yard line. And Davis to throw on first down. And the out is caught by the tight end, Eric Moore. call it a gain of 3 to the 45. Eric Moore's third catch of the year. Big junior out of Garden Grove, California. Has had some back problems, so David Knuff had a chance to make a catch against UCLA.
Here again, Chad just taking what they're giving him. Drop back, pump it out there. You can see the free safety is up too close and just able to slide it by him.
Call it a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 for the 45. Chad Davis is 4 for 4 to get started this afternoon. Here comes the draw, the little screen across the middle, and look at Albert Kennedy. We got a flag down back at the 45. In the area where you would expect a hold to be called on Washington State. And that's what Tennessee is indicating. Negates a huge gain to Albert Kennedy.
Actually, it was a block in the back by Ron Lewis. He had his guy controlled at the line of scrimmage, and you'll see that as he comes across, it's either Lewis or Sanderson who's just absolutely blocking his guy, and you see it's White that I believe.
Illegal block in the back, 10 yards
right there.
from the spot of the foul against the offense.
Sanderson did such a good job not allowing any penetration that when the screen came underneath, he just pushed his guy just a hair, and the referee was right there and called that. So unfortunately, Cougars, the penalties are what has interrupted their offense so far. That's the thing that they wanted to eliminate from the game plan.
That little flanker screen across the middle, another play that the offensive coaches felt was going to be outstanding, as Derek Sparks never got his feet underneath him on that handoff, and it'll be 3rd and long for Washington State.
Corey Stone gets the Stone. Looked like a little mix-up in the backfield, that they're a little too close there, and Chad couldn't get his feet out. Derek is just trying to run to daylight, got tripped up a little bit there, so Brown and Stone were able to pile it up in the middle. Another long 3rd down. Paul Sorensen on the sidelines.
Interesting, Larry Marmee right now, former Arizona State head coach, playing a soft zone against Washington State. They're trying to make them dump the ball out. Cougars have done a good job, but they've hurt themselves with penalties. Back upstairs to you and Cleat.
Chad Davis looking for someone to throw to, couldn't find anybody, had to go to the slide. And look at the ovation from the Tennessee fans for the defense.
Chad again, nothing there. Let's not beat ourselves. Let's go down, slide, punt it away. Let's not force the ball in there. Let's let our defense get the ball back for us. That's the attitude that he's got to have. If there's nothing there, don't force it in there and cause a turnover.
George Martin to punt it away for Washington State. The snap was good. Martin almost didn't catch it, though. Good kick, though. And Sean Summers lets it roll. Can the Cougars down it? They kept it out of the end zone. And it's going to be at the 1-yard line. That will be a 59-yard punt by George Martin. Great coverage by the Cougars.
Well, he hit it off the side of his foot, but it still spiraled. And I believe that was, I'm not exactly sure who did get down there on top of that ball. I believe, yep, not sure. Couldn't get the number. So nice spot for the defense here, maybe to take a little aggressiveness out in the end zone. I don't think they'll have Peyton Manning throwing out of here.
The power formation. Mose Phillips, he's down in the end zone. That's a safety. His knees were in the end zone. It looked like maybe the ball might have been right at the line, but boy, I'll tell you what, his knees were down in the end zone. Take a look at this.
Todd Shaw just slants down into this play. You'll see him. There's nobody hits him, and that's awful close. Look at that ball land in the end zone. That was 2 points. That was 2 points.
They say Mose was over the line by a nose, enough to deny the Cougars 2 points. Peyton Manning gets about a yard on the quarterback keeper, buys a little room.
Well, it was pretty clear to me, and I don't know how that linesman could come down the line of scrimmage and see where that ball landed. That was, I guess, a little judgment call there by the SEC crew.
They will mark the ball close to the 3, so give Manning a couple of yards on that. Call it 3rd and 8 from the 3. All right, Coach. Keep it on the ground, just try to get a yard or 2 more.
I believe that they've got to. If they throw an interception, it really hampers Manning's confidence.
He will throw it. up the sideline, and it is well overthrown. And Manning goes down. They're going to call roughing the passer apparently on Washington State. The flags have been huge against Washington State so far, and if that's on the Cougars, that's the biggest of them all now.
They're going to call it a personal foul. I don't know if it's going to be from the spot of the foul. We didn't see the end of the throw. Manning's just throwing the ball, getting rid of it. His wide receiver had actually stopped and then started again.
Well, they'll move it out to the 17-yard line. Call it the 18. Bill Doba can't be happy about that.
Roughing the passer against the defense, 15 yards, and an automatic first down.
So a huge flag against Washington State.
Big break there. Referees providing a couple breaks there for this Tennessee crowd. It's I guess that's why they call it the home cooking down here.
Manning will hand it off on first down. Stewart hit in the backfield, spins away and hit again. Nothing doing, and there's a good example of why this Cougar defense is so difficult to run against. James Darling, number 33, coming up. Torrey Hunter, whose mom made the trip all the way from Tacoma to watch this game, coming up to play big.
Todd Shaw filling in for Dwayne Sander, who's out with a bruised knee, did not make the trip. Did an excellent job there containing and keeping Stewart inside where his buddies like Torrey could come in and polish him off.
2:50 left to play in the first quarter. Scoreless tie between Washington State and Tennessee. Play action. The completion to the tight end and a first down for Tennessee. Manning did a nice job on the play action that time. It froze Ron Childs long enough for the pass to be thrown to David Horn.
Horn is in that H-back position, and he goes out, takes a little pop. Ron Childs, you see there, did hesitate for just a second, and that's a little mishap in the secondary. Picks up a nice little first down. Again, the play action there really shouldn't be too effective because they haven't run the ball, but nice bit of faking by the freshman.
1st and 10 from the 32 for Tennessee. And they'll try it on the ground. Stewart outside, and a nice open field tackle by Torrey Hunter. Gain of about 2 on the play by Stewart, but if Hunter doesn't make that stop, Stewart has some room to run.
Nice tackle. Stewart doesn't really have anything. You see it get caved down inside, Chris Hayes, but Stewart has to pop it outside because it's all bottled up between the tackles, and that's where the Cougars are really strong. Tennessee would like to be able to run that I formation in between their big tackles, Lehman and Ratliff.
4 carries, 13 yards for Stewart so far. Let's see if the Cougars caused the contact or if it was Washington State being drawn off by the Volunteers. Tennessee, the team that had problems with turnovers and penalties against Mississippi State. 6 turnovers in that contest.
Dead ball foul, offside, defense.
2nd down and 4 now for Tennessee.
Well, that's something you really don't expect out of a freshman quarterback, to have the composure to come up and try to draw people offside. Got the barking in the signal and brought him off.
Phillips, the fullback, breaks a tackle of Chad Eaton, gets a first down. Big Mose Phillips. He's played tailback, he's played fullback, he's even played wide receiver in this lineup for Tennessee.
Well, Chad's not very happy with himself because he comes down, throws off the block of Smith, and just can't get the arms wrapped up around Mose, and that brings up a first down. Big change of events when they were down in their own end zone, looking at maybe a safety and perhaps what was a safety, and now getting a first down, moving the ball a little bit out on their own 43.5, 44-yard line.
Tip the field in their direction again. Backs in the eye behind Manning on first down. Gonna throw, or will he? Able to elude one man. Can't elude the arm tackle of Chris Hayes. Manning had gotten by Hayes except for the fingertips, and Chris somehow made the stop.
Well, not much to throw to as the linebackers drop back. They don't fall for the play action fake, and Manning has nowhere to go to. And here's the difference between Manning and the other freshman quarterback, Stewart, is Manning is not a runner at all, and Chris Hayes is. Chris did a nice job coming up. Got about a half a yard sack there.
Big interception against UCLA. Stewart, the lone man in the backfield. Looking for him on the screen pass. Ron Darling and Brian Walker make the stop. I'd love to be able to see that one again. There was a nice little block to the back on the Washington State defender who had Stewart penned in the backfield, but it goes uncalled.
Just a little screen. Again, an easy throw for the big 6'5" Manning. Tops it over the top, and here's the block in the back. That's got to be called. Ron Childs can't believe it, but they're not going to go our way today, so you got to play through it.
Tennessee into Cougar territory at the 49 after that 8-yard gain. First down for the 3rd and 2 for the Volunteers. Manning going to the audible now, has 8 seconds left on the play clock. Stewart, second effort, got him the first down.
Got a flag down, though.
Flag was thrown at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I thought that Robert Booth, who'd come into the game, had lined up offsides, and so the officials are they're going to catch those. If there's anything that Washington State does, they're going to get caught.
Offside, lining up offside, on the defense, first down.
Dwayne Patterson out, getting a breather right now as Todd Shaw rotates in. Booth will leave.
Offsides, Cougars. First and 10.
Booth comes back now. It'll be Eaton, Sasa, Shaw, and Booth on that front line for Washington State. This will be the final play of the first quarter. First and 10 for the Volunteers at the Cougar 44. Drive started on their own 1. Hayden gets about 1 yard on that play. So a scoreless first quarter, and the Washington State defense has now gone 15 quarters without giving up a touchdown. But Tennessee on the move as the first quarter comes to an end. From Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, it's 0-0 Washington State and Tennessee. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Casper and Paul Sorensen in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. A scoreless first quarter. Tennessee had the football for 10 minutes and 39 seconds of that first quarter, and the Cougars only 4 minutes 21 seconds. And on a day that is not quite as hot as it could, it is a bit muggy. As you can see, some of the Cougar faithful are a bit subdued right now. You have to wonder if that time of possession, if it stays like this, will take its toll. 2nd and 9 for the Volunteers. They head the other direction, and Manning goes to an audible. Peyton Manning. And we got a flag. It's not a delay of game. Had to be movement. False start by Tennessee as the flag and the whistles went before the play developed.
Coach Doba grabbed Chris Hayes right after that play. I think he wants to slant outside a little more, just line up a little bit farther outside.
Illegal procedure, false start against the offensive line.
There's Coach Doba leading his linebackers to the #1 run defense in the nation so far, and they're going to get tested this afternoon because Phil Fulmer there is going to run the ball as long as he can afford to.
2nd and 14 following the penalty. Fulmer in his 3rd year as the head coach here at Tennessee. Longtime assistant. Manning the straight drop. Here comes the pressure. This is Hayden on the catch, and Hayes on the tackle, and a big hit by Mark Fields, whose ankle appears to be okay. Nicely executed screen pass by the Volunteers.
Here you see the pressure. Dwayne Patterson thinks he's got a shot. He recognizes it just a hair too late and can't get up and tap that. The thing about this Cougar defense is, speed is good, but when you've got guys who know what they're doing, the speed is just enhanced. And in that example, you see players like Sasa recognize screen and then run. Players like Fields recognize it and then run.
Here's where the Cougars have been outstanding. 3rd and 9 now for the Volunteers. 12th play of the drive right here. And that one is incomplete. Torrey Hunter making the stop in the backfield as the ball went through. The Volunteer fans thinking it should have been pass interference, but the ball was well past Nilo Sullivan.
Cougs recognize again immediately. And you can see that the play behind the line of scrimmage, Ratliff, the big 300-pound offensive tackle can't get out there and get a piece of the 175-pound cornerback. And I'm sure Corliss, Torrey's mother, was real pleased with that play.
Washington State has blocked a kick, a punt, or a field goal in each of the games so far this season. They got 10 on the line, and they're coming after Hutton. Hutton gets it away. A very high kick. Dumas will just run away from it, and it goes out of bounds at the 6, maybe the 7 where they mark it. So Washington State had the field position in its favor. That goes back to Tennessee. It'll be Cougar football when we come back to Knoxville.
Military medicine.
Washington State with its back to that famous checkerboard end zone. Homecoming here in Knoxville, and the Volunteers have been outstanding over the years on homecoming afternoons. They are 52, 15, and 3. And they have won 10 consecutive homecoming dates going back to 1983 when Ole Miss managed to knock off Tennessee on homecoming.
University of Tennessee College.
Chad Davis waiting as we continue to have a timeout. Jay Dumas had come over to the sidelines and got a play call from Mike Price, and see what they run here. They had gone to the double tight end alignment. They've pulled them out. Kearney Adams and Dumas have come in. So the Cougars will go with a wide receiver set against this Tennessee defense, which is not impressive against the pass statistically. And really this afternoon so far, Clete, they haven't been impressive against the pass. The Cougars had to get a little conservative with the run because of some penalties that have really shut them down.
Not very traditional for a Tennessee club. They're not used to being at the bottom of the SEC in these categories such as pass defense, and they've been giving up a lot of points. And see if Cougars can march one down. I'd like to get some points on the board here this first half.
Madu is in the backfield. Davis 4 for 4 through the air so far. McCloskey over the ball at center. It's Madu, and there's not much for Frank to do.
Tyrone Hines. Hines is a linebacker that is getting his first start today. They've, like we said, switched some things around, and he's got the speed to close. And here you'll see just coming up, filling in the hole, and that's perfect linebacker play there. Frank just got T-boned.
Hines out of Brownsville, Tennessee, did not play last year due to academic problems. But because of his emergence in the middle, Tennessee able to make the personnel changes they made. And that's Madu who gets out to the 10 that time. Some good hard running, as it appeared there wasn't much there at the line of scrimmage at all on that second down play.
Well, Mike Price is not going to do something to put a damper on things as far as the way his defense is played, and I think you can expect him to be fairly conservative. He may pass down here, but it's not going to be anything that's dangerous. Another thing you have to worry about down in the stadium like this is so loud, you don't want to call audibles. Just run the play that's sent in, because you can mix it up and create more problems than it's worth.
3rd and 7 for Davis. Play fake, buys him a little time. He's got Dumas open. Dumas spins away from the tackle and gets the first down. Nice effort by Jay Dumas.
Jay Dumas is so slippery in the open field. You saw him on that punt return, and they're just able to spin away one revolution. The play action, again, fairly safe pass. Let's drag the slot man across. He's wide open as the other cornerbacks and safeties have been run off. Austin misses him there, and he picks up the first down. Nice play. Good play call also by Coach Price. Levin Seller radioing down to him, and Jay Dumas picks up the first down and a good bit of running.
First down for Washington State at their own 18 now. Back to the ground, Sparks and Derrick with about 5 yards on first down, and that, of course, very important to aid in the play calling.
That's what I like to see, Derrick. I like to see you running hard up the middle, and he comes up strong on this play. Not much there. Good block, kick out by Sanderson and Lewis, and just running up the back of his big guard, Paul Reed. Nice job. Paul's got his guy about 7-8 yards back in the secondary, and Coach Yarno will be smiling when he sees that in films. Nice job, Paul.
2nd and 5 for the Cougars. Kearney Adams coming in motion. They'll try the counter to the left side, and Sparks very close to a first down. Scott Gallion coming from that outside linebacker spot to make the stop. Evan Ford reporting into the lineup for Washington State. Last week when the Cougars were going through their run-through, I'll tell you about this after this play.
Again, Paul Reed getting a good block there, isolating, and then Clay Reese just enough of his man Galen there, the outside linebacker, to allow Sparks to pick up close to the first down, and in fact, they've got it, moving the chains.
Chad Davis gets the play call signaled in. Yesterday at the Cougar walkthrough, Evan Ford and the Cougars gathered near midfield as they do at the end of practice, and I'll continue that following this play. On first down, nobody in the backfield. Davis, quick out pass intended for senior wide receiver David Spence. Nothing doing. First incompletion by Chad Davis. But last week at UCLA during the practice, at the end of the practice, the Cougars were supposed to stay off the UCLA 75th anniversary logo in the middle of the Rose Bowl field. Well, Evan Ford didn't know what he was doing, just took off running and ran right through the logo.
Freshman.
And the Cougar team started off run, Forrest, run. So at the end of the practice yesterday, it was run, Forrest, run at the end of practice. And off took Evan Ford, running right through the center of the UT logo in the middle of the field. Sparks goes in motion out of the backfield. Here comes the blitz. Davis gets it away, and it is incomplete, which is actually better for Washington State because they would have lost a yard on that one had Sparks made the catch. And Chad Davis is hurt. Right now, let's go down to the sidelines to Paul Sorensen.
Well, not good news for the Cougars. Chad Davis right now is laying down there. Looks like he kind of took a late shot on the blitz. The Cougars are trying to be very patient. They had horrible field position early in the game. They're working on trying to move the ball out a little bit. But on the defensive side, Peyton Manning is just taking away from the Cougars. Nothing spectacular. Very conservative, but that's playing into the Tennessee game plan. Back upstairs.
Thank you, Paul. Chad Davis broke his collarbone last year while he was redshirting and missed most of the fall campaign nursing that collarbone. He is still down on the field right now, very quickly grabbing a football on the sidelines and taking some snaps from backup center Corey Solomon is Derek Chapman, the 6'4" senior out of Chula Vista, California. He's thrown just one pass this year and completed it for 9 yards. There is Chapman on the sidelines. He was one of the quarterbacks, Clete, who threw a little bit last year when Mike Pattinson went down with the collarbone injury.
I'm trying to get a look at Chad, and he's up moving around. Mark Smaha's down attending to his right shoulder, it looks like, but I think he's okay. I saw him moving his arm, and in fact, he's run off the field, so that's a good sign that he just took a shot and it was a little sore.
He has to come out for one play because of the fact that time was stopped and the trainers went out to attend to him. But as you say, he appears to be okay as he's got the helmet off on the sidelines now, and he's just upset about the fact he's out of the game. So Chapman will come in and run at least one play from scrimmage, and it will be a throwing situation, 3rd and 10, although as Paul mentioned, and you've talked about the fact that the Cougars have been conservative. Derek Chapman's job here might be just to hand it off and see if the Cougars can pick up a couple of yards before punting it away.
I think Mike will just hand the ball off here. I don't think he'll put his defense in trouble, and it's a tough situation for Chapman to come in and throw, but he's gonna.
And he does, and it is almost intercepted. He threw it behind his intended receiver, Kearney Adams, and it was a lineman, Steve White, who didn't quite have the hands.
Well, I'm a little surprised that he decided to go ahead and throw. You see that the linebacker comes over, almost picks that ball off. Steve White dropping back and off of his defensive end position, kind of crossing him up. I don't think Derek expected a defensive lineman to be back that far.
George Martin set to boot it away. His last one went 59 yards. Another good kick, a high driving spiral. Sean Summers at his 26. Had a couple of blockers outside, is able to elude Todd Jensen's tackle and pick up another 3 or 4. And we'll take time out. We are still scoreless. 10:34 left to play in the first half. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Brandon Stewart has come on at quarterback for the Volunteers as they have the ball on their own 32. 6'2", 210-pound freshman out of Stevensville, Texas. And he hands off on first down, and a gain of about 4 yards on that first down play as tempers flare a bit. Ronnie Childs involved for Washington State.
Well, here's Brandon Stewart. Hasn't really had a fair shot so far this season. He's gone in for a play or two or gone in for a series and hasn't really, I don't think he feels, had the opportunity to show what he can do. Just from the warm-ups that I can see, he's got a lot of talent also. Just doesn't have the same last name as a former NFL player.
He's completed 9 of 16 passes, not thrown a touchdown. He's been intercepted once. Fumbled the snap. The ball's on the ground. Looks like Ronnie Childs has recovered for Washington State. Well, turnovers a huge, huge key for Tennessee a week ago. And they have just committed their first, and they give the Cougars the ball at the 34, maybe the 35. And let's see if Chad Davis is going to come back at quarterback. He will for Washington State.
Bubba Miller just didn't get the ball up, or at least Brandon didn't hang along there long enough. And you see it underneath Patterson's feet. He's kicking it around, and voila. There's Ronnie Childs to pick it up, and that's what Mike Price has been playing for. Let's get the turnover. Let's our defense win the ball game for us. And so now Chad Davis back in after a pretty hard shot will bring the Cougars out and see if he can get a score.
Mike Price likes to go for the big play after a sudden change. Let's see if he does it here. Play fake to Madu. He's going deep. If Davis has time, he's got to run. He'll want to throw it away. He does. And there's no one near. Let's see if the flag comes. It does not. And you hear the response from the fans.
Like you said, trying to go with the play action, fake it up the middle to Madu, looking deep. They're in too deep, and they don't bite on it. Stone is chasing him out, and here comes
Ben Talley with some
Ben Talley, who has moved to the defensive end from his linebacker position for this week to get more pressure, and the change worked there.
Well, 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars. The crowd coming back to life in Neyland Stadium. Trips to the right for Washington State. Madu keeps his feet, runs into his own blocker, and was stonewalled. And we have a very, very late flag thrown in from the secondary, very far behind the play. We'll see what it is. Madu ran up the back of center Mark McCloskey that time and kind of bounced back. That's an interesting place for a holding call to come from.
That's a brutal call.
That came from the defensive backfield, Judge. He threw the flag from the 10, and it landed at about the 19.
Well, in addition, the play's over. Here you see the play's basically over, and then you see the hole, but it's all stuffed up, and the backfield judge comes from way back on about the 5-yard line. He threw his flag about 50 just to make sure everybody saw the call. So again, they're going to call it tight to the vest, and that's a penalty that hurts. Again, it's a big one.
Well, Mike Price has reason to be disgruntled
against the offense. Penalty is from the end of the run. Repeat 2nd down.
The ball being spotted at the 42, which will make it a 2nd and 17. So Washington State being hurt by the yellow flags. Madu remains in the backfield, trips to the left for Washington State. The tight end is Eric Moore on the right side. A mismatch with Madu at the bottom, and the pass completed to Albert Kennedy, who has stood up, but it will be a gain to about the 34-yard line, so it'll set up a 3rd and 9 for Washington State.
Like Paul Sorensen alluded to, the secondary for Tennessee is playing very soft, and the linebackers are up kind of close, and so that you're able to get it over the top of the linebackers, but underneath the secondary, there's Galen. Drops back into his hook zone, is able to make the tackle, but a pretty good pickup. Brings up 3rd and 9. Cougars need to keep this drive alive.
Madu in the backfield. See if Davis gets enough time to throw. Gets it to the tight end. 1st down, Washington State. Eric Moore's 2nd catch of the day, and the Cougars keep the drive alive.
Well, this play is set up, first of all, by excellent pass protection. Nice little cup to throw the ball from. Ron Lewis jarring his guy. There's no one in front of Chad, and he's able to deliver that ball after the wide receivers have cleared it out. Nice 1st down pickup, and the Cougars are in scoring territory now. 1st and 10 on the Volunteer 21.
Davis 7 for 9 through the air. Sparks back in the backfield for Washington State. 4 wide receivers. Kearney Adams goes in motion. The counter to Sparks. Got about 3 on that play. 8 minutes left to play in a scoreless first half. Bud Namick, Clete Casper, Paul Sorensen with you. Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Clock ticking down, 7:50 left in this 2nd quarter. Little mix-up you can see as the personnel coming in, and I think that with only 15, 16 seconds left, they're going to have to hustle to get this play off. Don't want to have a delay of game down here.
One of the things that Washington State has been wanting to do is get the hands of Shaheed Evans on the football. and he is in the lineup right now at a slot back position. Pressure, Davis eludes it. Incomplete as he tried to throw the out to Shaheed Evans.
Had a chance for him as Shaheed had run down and was coming back to the football nicely. Nice fake in order to get Talley off his feet. Chad's running for his life, and he's just going to sling that ball. Like I said, he had a shot at him, but just couldn't deliver. It's sometimes hard to throw when you're running for your life.
Important, though, for him to be able to get rid of the ball because they are in field goal range right now. Tony Truant has been warming up. Truant would be facing about a 35-yarder in this situation. He's 1 for 2 from that distance so far this season.
Great opportunity for quarterback draw.
Nobody in the backfield. Dumas, the catch, spins away, but will not get the first down. But got the ball to the middle of the field and picked up about 5, maybe 6 yards. And the Cougars will give Tony Truant the opportunity.
There's nobody in the middle of the football field at the linebacker position. You see it's wide open. That's why I thought the quarterback draw might work there, and talked a little bit, but the same basic place was taken advantage of, and not quite enough for the first down. Brings on Tony the Toe.
Dumas, the holder. It's slightly left of center of the field. This will be a 30-yard attempt for the left-footed kicker. Snap and spot are good. Plenty of distance, and the Cougars are on the board. Tony the Toe Truant gives Washington State a 3-0 lead. So Washington State takes advantage of the turnover and puts 3 points on the board. 6:39 left to play in the first half, and Washington State is the first one to change the bulbs on the scoreboard.
Well, again, the defense now will sense the blood in the water. This will get them even more fired up, as that's their 3 points. And a nice job by the offense, even though they had a penalty, to take advantage of the turnover.
And don't forget, you can see men's soccer action right here on Prime Sports Northwest. It's the Washington Huskies against the Monarchs of Old Dominion, Monday at 4 o'clock right here on Prime Sports Northwest. Philip Fulmer sees his team fall behind 3-0.
That's not the position he wanted to be in. He wanted to be on top early so that he does not have to resort to the passing game. He doesn't have to abandon his game plan yet. And you can see the Cougar faithful, who's made the trip down, happy with this result so far.
But it'll be interesting now to see who comes back at quarterback for Tennessee.
I'd be very surprised if Brandon didn't get another shot to get in there and pick up a little more experience. They're in a non-league game for them, and they got to decide who they're going to go through for the rest of this SEC season.
Washington State with that scoring streak, as you saw there, the longest in the Pac-10. 113 straight games the Cougars have scored in now. Truant to boot it away. Last kick was a shorter kick that kind of knuckled.
Tony's done a good job of placing these kickoffs.
Very short and high kick, almost like a pooch kick, and they called for a fair catch and let the ball drop. And that ball should be down, and it is. The whistle was blown by the officials, and that's the right call. The Tennessee up back called for a fair catch, which you can do on a kickoff, but as soon as that happens, the defense stops, so the ball becomes dead once it's touched by a Tennessee player.
Actually, it was a good play.
There's a fair catch signal on the play. The ball is dead.
It was a good idea by the up back that called the fair catch, because if he caught that ball, he'd had the ball on about the 35-yard line. Instead, it's back a little bit, but it was a little unnerving, I'm sure, to Coach Fulmer and the staff.
Brandon Stewart is at quarterback. Aaron Hayden is in the backfield, the lone setback. David Horn, the tight end, set up in the slot. Handoff to Hayden, and Donnie Sasa makes the stop, but a good initial surge on first down. And Tennessee has been able to run the ball inside a little bit against Washington State.
A little. Chad Eaton here, you know, he's got position. It looks like he's in perfect position to make that tackle and just gets a piece of these big Tennessee running backs. You can see Fields is back in the lineup, and they're big up front. I mean, these Tennessee guys can move people out. They're used to big results.
Todd Jensen is in place of Singor Mobley right now in the safety spot for Washington State. Second down and call it 4. Stewart appeared to be making a play change at the line of scrimmage. Gives it to Hayden, and he is met by Donnie Sasa, Ron Childs, and a host of Cougars. The fans wanting a piling on call, but there were no whistles.
Play to the whistle stops, and then a little harder, says Donnie Sasa. Nice job. They're not going to get fooled twice. Same play. Chad Eaton beats the double team, and here's Fields closing off one end, and you're just not going to be able to maintain your blocks against the excellent athletes that you have down there on the defensive line.
Hayden now 6 carries for 16 yards, as he lost a couple on that. Call it 3rd down and 6 now from the 30.
This is a big play for Tennessee. They need to get some momentum. Cougars like to shut them down here.
Chris Hayes looking like he's going to blitz from the outside. He is picked up. Little screen pass, almost intercepted. Battle for the ball, and it is caught. I think Tennessee caught the ball, but it didn't go for much of anything. It was Mose Phillips who made the catch. He was kind of wrestling for it with Todd Shaw.
Todd Shaw makes an excellent adjustment. He reads screen. He just sees the fullback and he says, oh, I know what that is. And he almost picks up that ball. Mose out wrestles him for the ball, but then there's rushing to nail it down. So a nice bit of defense on 3rd and 6.
Talked about the loss of Dwayne Sanders and his speed, but maybe being made up for by the experience of Mr. Shaw. That was exemplified there. Dumas has to go back to the 15 and is able to get to about the 25, and we got another flag thrown in on the return. Nice punt by Hutton. 54-yard punt. And if the flag is against Washington State, the Cougars will start with terrible field position with 4:25 left in the first half.
Well, it's going to be blocking the black or clipping. It looked like the Cougar had good position up on top there, I believe, as we see it coming down the side. Not even in the picture. There's good position by Jensen. They can't call that. But I think over a little farther up on your screen, we had a block in the back. It's going to take it back another 10.
The ball will be spotted at the 15.
We have holding, 10-yard penalty against the return team during the return.
95,556 in attendance. They like that call. Mike Price didn't.
In the second quarter,
SEC officials have very good eyes so far.
15.
See what Washington State does on 1st and 10 from their own 15. They'll try it on the ground to Frank Madu, and he breaks through, and a very good first down gain of 7, perhaps 8, depending on the spot.
Nice job by McCloskey, the center, to seal off the inside. Got a hold of Leland Taylor and drove him back. And just, you don't have to create much room for Frank Madu. He's quick, and like I said, gets to that hole in lightning time.
Derek Sparks, Kevin Hicks, Frank Madu alternating in the backfield for Washington State throughout the season. Hicks not seeing any playing time yet today because of a tender ankle, and Madu trying to benefit from the extra playing time. Picks up the first down, gain of about 4 on that play, so a couple of carries for Madu, and he gets 12 yards. You talk to Frank out of San Francisco, born in Nigeria, exuberant young man, and ask him about the rotation, and he's very political. He says, hey, that's the coach's call. I'm happy with it, but yeah, I'd like to carry it more.
Well, he does a nice job here recognizing that it's 2nd down and 2, and instead of trying to bounce it out and make a big play, he's just going to turn it upfield and get the first down. So a good bit of running there by Frank.
3:35 left to play in the half, so Washington State will have to begin to manage the clock as they try to move down the field. Kearney Adams again coming in motion. Play fake. Here comes the pressure. Davis has some room to run. And there's the shoestring tackle, but Davis picks up about 5 on that scramble.
Quarterback Davis keeps tripped up by Raymond Austin.
Raymond Austin has a shoulder problem, managed to come up and make the hit there. It's been a difficult time for Tennessee with a number of injuries.
Nice coverage that time by Tennessee in the secondary. They had everybody very well covered, and Chad just elected again not to force it and pick up a few on first down.
2nd and 5 for Washington State. Madu in the backfield, trips to the top of your screen. Madu up the middle, big hole. Midfield, stepped out of bounds. They'll mark it at the 39-yard line, and Madu gets into it a little bit with one of the defensive backs who came over to make the stop, but a good play by Washington State. And A couple of yards down the field after Madu had crossed the line of scrimmage. Watch the block by Clay Reese.
Well, here's a nice bit of blocking. There's the pop by Lewis, and then Clay Reese just collapses things down inside. And I thought Frank was going to be able to bust by Ron Davis here, who's been injured a little bit, and he almost gets by him. Just happens to get taken out of bounds, but nice position now on the 39-yard line. Cougars are threatening.
29 yards for Madu on that carry. 2:33 left in the first half. Mix up in the backfield. Sparks got the ball and then got hammered. Ben Talley, along with Shane Burton, making the stop. No gain for Derek Sparks.
Talley again at a position that he's probably most comfortable. Sparks and Chad have had a little bit of, I don't know, they're just not meshing. The gears are off a little bit in the backfield, and I don't know why. They need to get that straightened out at halftime.
Carpenter, Shaheed Evans, Albert Kennedy, the wide receivers for Washington State. It's still Sparks in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Good pressure again on Davis. Again, he's forced to run it. And he's pushed out of bounds and will get to the 35. Picked up 4 on that play.
Chad drops back, and you see just a bull rush inside by White. There's pressure outside. Nothing there. Again, good decision. Get out of bounds. Prickmore, a converted quarterback, forces him out of bounds.
You might see
Yeah,
at quarterback if Tennessee has many more injuries at quarterback. 1:49 left to play in the first half. Cougars facing a 3rd and 6. Washington State leads it 3-0. Sparks goes in motion this time out of the backfield. Here comes the pressure. That quick pass to Dumas. First down, Washington State.
That'll stop the clock. Cougs need to get in the huddle again and get prepared to take advantage of the clock stopping with first down. They haven't stopped the clock yet, though, as they have not identified. Now they'll identify that it's a first down. The clock will stop while they move the chains. Cougs could take advantage of this right now. They're milling around a little bit.
Washington State with 2 timeouts left. 1:31 left to play in the half. Cougars leading it 3-0. And they have the ball right now at the Tennessee 29. And this has been a nice drive that started on the Cougar 15. Mark McCloskey comes over the ball at center. Big Ron Lewis still in there with that dinged up shoulder, along with Clay Reese. Up the middle goes Sparks, and there's not much there. Might have got a yard with the progress.
Clock still moving now, under a minute. Washington State in no hurry really to call plays and try to take advantage. I'm a little surprised they didn't call timeout there, because now they're looking at the clock running down to 30 seconds before they
This will indicate that they're going to have to throw the football from here on in, unless they use a timeout and use a running play to get to the middle of the field to set up the field goal. Here comes the pressure. Davis over the middle, the tight end Moore, the catch to the 22. The clock will still run. Let's see if the Cougars call timeout. 25 seconds.
There they go.
And now the clock is stopped by Washington State.
Tennessee is bringing people, and when they bring people, they vacate zones, and there's a little window there that the big tight end Moore is able to corral that ball in and pick up a little bit, 8 yards, 7 yards. Right.
Only the second pass on this drive, as you see Chad Davis and Mike Price talking about things. This drive started at the 15, and I had to chuckle reading the Knoxville paper yesterday, talking about how Tennessee is going to be better off a little bit defensively over this stretch of the season because they're facing teams that predominantly run the football. And it's very strange to hear people talking about Washington State that way, but so far this season that has been the case. The Cougars have run the ball quite a bit more often than they have thrown it.
Well, I think that second half of the UCLA football game, where they're up most of the game, as you see Phil Fulmer stomping the sidelines trying to inspire his defense, but they're very conservative in the second half. And I think in talking to Mike, he didn't expect to not throw the ball as much as they did last week, and I think that skews that little running statistic a little bit. Very conservative in the second half last week.
25 seconds left. The Cougars have 1 timeout. The ball is on the 22. It's 3rd and about 3. Do you take a pop into the end zone, and if you don't get it, let Tony Truant kick it away, or do you try to get the first down and then stop the clock? Well, the change would stop the clock and quickly throw one into the ground.
I think that something that's been working for them has been the little delay routes over the middle, in the middle of the field, as Tennessee tries to find a way to put pressure by bringing the middle linebackers. And so far, that little zone has been a nice conservative pass for Chad, and it's right in the middle of the field. They may pick up the first down. If they don't, it's a one-shot thing and throw the ball away.
It's Madu in the backfield. Dumas in a slot. Carpenter at wide receiver. Here comes the blitz. Davis eludes one tackler and then goes down back at the 29-yard line, call it. Cougars will call timeout, and Tony Truant will go in. I might have just let the clock run down and stop the clock with about 5 seconds left, so the field goal is the final play of the half.
Well, the blitz up the middle, and you see the middle of the field is open there. Chad gets away from one, but Galeon is able to knock him down. I think Chad made a mistake there of going to the wrong side of the field for his read. He had, I think, Albert Kennedy up top, man on man, and he should have just dumped that ball as quickly as he could. But again, not making a bad throw is better than getting intercepted, and he just took the sack. He's learning what Mike wants him to do, and that's okay. It's not gorgeous, but it's okay.
Truant will be kicking this one from the 36-yard line. It'll be a 46-yard attempt. His long field goal made this season is a 38-yarder. In fact, the only other long field goal he's tried has been a 41-yarder that he did not make.
Well, I like the way he attacked his first field goal, really ripped it. He's on the left hash mark, which is good for a left-footed kicker.
It'll be a 45-yard attempt. It's got to hurry. He got it. It just did catch a pocket of air, a little updraft to go over the crossbar. And 13 seconds remain in the first half, and the Cougars have picked up their second field goal and now lead it 6-0.
Well, that was a nice drive, and the reason it's a nice drive, it kept the defense off the field for a long time, starting back in their own end of the field and taking it down, running out the clock. And so the defense will need those kinds of efforts by the offense. Nice long drive by the Cougar O, and that's 3 points on their side. They earned all those 3 points. The defense gave them the first 3.
So a couple of Tony Truant field goals in the second quarter, a 30-yarder and a 45-yarder, and Washington State is 13 seconds away from taking a 6-0 lead into the locker room at halftime against the Tennessee Volunteers.
We've had some interesting kickoffs here so far in the game. We've had one line drive knuckleball, and then we've had a little pooch kick. Let's see what else Tony the Toe has in his tricks.
Speedster Nilo Sylvan and also Kendrick Jones back deep for Tennessee, although they're sneaking up a little bit. I don't think you'll see a Tennessee player call for a fair catch on this kickoff.
If he does, he'll catch it at least.
Tony Truant, sophomore out of Shorewood High School in Seattle. A left footer set to boot it away. Here comes the knuckleball. And at the 30, Tennessee has it. And they get out to about the 39-yard line, and it'll be time for a little Hail Mary action with 7 seconds left.
I hate to even think about that. What a sensational play last week by Cordell Stewart as he hung it up for the game winner, and I don't see why Peyton Manning, who's coming in to launch this thing, we'll get an example of why he was rated so high. His arm strength here, I can guarantee you he'll be able to put this ball in the end zone. Cougars need to put the pressure on him, make sure he doesn't have all day to sit back there and throw this ball. Nope, they're not even going to try.
And you hear the reaction from the Tennessee fans. That will end the first half. And Washington State, after not having the ball very much at all in the first quarter, managed to even up the time of possession as the Cougar offense put together a couple of lengthy drives time-wise as Phil Fulmer heads off the field, seeing his team down 6-0. The Cougars, with a couple of Tony Truant field goals, leading Tennessee 6-0 at the half. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Tell you, they've got all these diet plans that you pay a lot of money for. You could be Butch for an afternoon on a warm, muggy day like this, and that would take care of things for you.
That'll cure what ails you.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this Tennessee crowd reacts. They gave the team a nice ovation as they came back out onto the field, but Philip Fulmer's club heard a couple of boos, a spattering of boos at the end of the first half, and not just the kneel-down play. Washington State will accept a kickoff for the first time this afternoon. Torrey Hunter and Singor Mobley back deep for Washington State. John Bexworth, the senior out of Chattanooga, to kick it away. Bexworth, the second consecutive All-American kicker that the Cougars are seeing, who is struggling this year. Bjorn Merton had such a great year for UCLA a year ago, was an All-American, and is struggling this year. And Bexworth just 2 for 7 in field goals this season after an All-American year a year ago. Bexworth set to boot it away. And the second half is underway. Good kick. Hunter will take it down to the knee. Actually, Mobley will wait and let the Volunteers run down to him. Cougars will start from their own 20. Chad Davis in the first half, 10 of 14 through the air for 72 yards. Officially, Tennessee credited with 1 sack of Davis. Oddly enough, Washington State did not have a sack defensively against Peyton Manning nor Brandon Stewart in 9 pass attempts, although they did get a little pressure on him, but also the offense for Tennessee was a very quick pass situation. First and 10 from the 20, and Davis will run the little pitch out to Derek Sparks, who picks up about 2 yards on that first down play. Cleat, the Cougars script plays to start the first half of the game. Do they script the sequence for the start of the second half?
They don't. When you're scripting plays, you want to be able to practice them all week. It helps your offense with their, I guess, confidence going in. Nice bit of blocking, but the free safety Austin comes up and fills the hole there. Cougars don't script the second half, but they talk about what things are going to work and how little adjustments you might make to blocking schemes and such.
Sanderson, Lewis, McCloskey, Reed, and Reese on the offensive line. Chad Carpenter, the catch at the 28 on his knees. So it'll set up a 3rd and about 2 for Washington State.
Chad just going to deliver the ball out there from the right hash. Is a long throw. You got to put a lot of mustard on it just to get it out there. And Carpenter goes and secures the football. That's okay. Brings up 3rd and 2, and run pass. Anything works up here for Coach McDonnell and Levin Seller in the booth. Mike Price is the one that has the final decision down on the sideline. So
it's Sparks in the backfield. Volunteers bunching up on the left side. They think they might try to run there. Davis wants to throw it and tried to ad-lib it to Albert Kennedy, and Kennedy was unable to get away from the defender, and Mike Price is screaming. Price thought that Kennedy was being held on the sideline, but didn't get any kind of a break at all. And Washington State will have to punt it away.
3rd and 2, just trying to get it with a little hitch pass, and that's a play that if it isn't there, you got to really make it up as you go. And like you said, Albert Kennedy was trying to get loose down the sidelines, was all tangled up.
George Martin had a 51-yard average in the first half. Cougars were moving. Here comes the flag. A good kick by Martin that drives Summers back deep, and he's at the 19. Still on his feet out to the 28. I would imagine the Cougars will have to kick it again, though. The Cougars moving on the line, and that's the 8th penalty of the afternoon against Washington State.
Again, just rocking back a hair. And I don't know if Coach Fulmer will take that or just take the field position. That's the way.
I'd make him kick it again,
but the way he's been hitting the ball. And they are indeed going to make him kick.
There you see the 8 penalties against the Cougars, only 1 on Tennessee. We are in Knoxville.
We are definitely in Knoxville. Be interesting to see if Tennessee this time tries to put on a little more pressure. George has gotten the ball off with relative ease this afternoon. Thus his 51-yard average.
George's family made the drive from Hobart, Indiana to watch George play. They were in their van in the parking lot when the buses arrived at the hotel yesterday afternoon. Here comes that pressure. George gets it away, and it will be better field position for Tennessee this time as Summers has it at the 33 and gets outside a little bit out to the 42. So a pickup of a little better than 10 yards on the second punt following the penalty.
See, the contained man just gets juked a little bit. You see him go down, and he's got to stay outside, let Ron Darling, or James Darling, come in there and make the tackle.
So Tennessee comes out on offense for the first time in the second half after generating just 63 yards of offense in the first half. It's Peyton Manning who will be at quarterback. For Washington State defensively, Todd Shaw, Chad Eaton, Donnie Sawsaw on that defensive line, and Dwayne Patterson there as well. Mark Fields, Ron Childs in at linebacker. Brian Walker, Singor Mobley, John Rushing, Torrey Hunter in the defensive backfield for Washington State.
Well, there you look at the offense for Tennessee, and again, they're not out of this ball game. We're talking like 6-0 is an unsurmountable lead, but what they've got to do is establish some sort of running game, especially if they're going to try and pound it away on first down. Cougars have been really successful keeping the gains to a minimum. Great college atmosphere here at Neyland Stadium.
Halftime, we were treated the performance by the Tennessee Marching Band, the pride of the Southland. And today being homecoming, they had an alumni gathering of former bands members that were about as big as the marching band that's here today. The first down play is a handoff, and not much doing at all. Perhaps a half a yard. Apparently James Stewart on the carry. We've not seen any of Jay Graham, a very highly touted sophomore out of North Carolina.
Out of the offset eye, Donnie Sawsaw, Eaton, Ronnie Childs just controlling that line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard. 2nd and 9.
Inside handoff to the fullback, Mose Phillips, who managed to stay on his feet after he was hit by Chad Eaton, and it will set up a 3rd and about 3 as they will call him down at the 49. So a gain of 6 for Phillips.
Phillips just rumbles and rolls, falls over his feet a little bit here as Eaton just got the back of the Achilles. Not enough to take that big load down, and that was a pretty big pickup. Brings up 3rd and 3. This is a situation where Peyton Manning can drop back and throw a nice little safe pass for a first down. See if the Cougs challenge him.
Phillips and Stewart in the backfield on 3rd and 3. They'll give it to Stewart, and he got the first down. Some good blocking, and Singor Mobley coming up to make the hit. Got it by about a half a yard. A rare 3rd down conversion against Washington State.
Good bit of blocking. Ratliff, the big tackle, gets a piece of Fields, and Singor has to come up, makes a nice tackle, almost stops him from the first down. But again, that's what Tennessee wants to do. 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, and get the first down.
It'll be interesting to see if that is the adjustment that has been made now by Tennessee, that they're going to see if they can grind it out against this Cougar defense.
Here comes the blitz.
And here comes the audible from Manning. 5 seconds on the play clock. Going to have to hurry. Just does get the snap off. And the pass is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Maurice Staley. Staley, a 6'1 freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina, was rated as the top high school wide receiver in the nation a year ago by the Sporting News. He broke all of former Volunteer receiver Carl Pickens' high school records. Pickens now with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nice job by Coach Doba, feinting the blitz, making Peyton Manning check out of it to a play that didn't work. And that's what you want to do with a little bit of that feinting in the secondary, because a young man will jump right out of that. He won't notice whether or not it's a decoy or not.
2nd and 10 for the Volunteers. Stewart the lone setback. Again, Manning looking to audible at the line of scrimmage, and just does get the play off again. Broken tackle, and Stewart able to get close to a first down.
Well, this time Coach Doba elected to come up the middle. Nice bit of blocking by Horn on Todd Shaw, gets to the corner, and so then it's Brian Walker and the DBs, and that's a little man carrying a few of us close to the first down.
3rd and a yard now. We'll see what Coach Phil Fulmer does with the play call. David Cutcliffe is the offensive coordinator for the Volunteers. As you can see, just 1 of 6 3rd down conversions. 2 of 7 now. First down, Tennessee. They got a little drive going on their initial possession of the second half.
Just came out in 2 tight ends. Nothing special at all here. Seymour Mobley kind of actually screens off Mark Fields. He can't get to the hole. And that's a first down for the Volunteers, and they're in the best position they've had all day.
No wide receivers at all for the Volunteers. They're going to take it at Washington State. Mark Fields makes the initial stop, but a pickup of about 4 as James Stewart is the big man in the offense right now.
I think David Cutcliffe has found something he likes, and that's 2 tight ends. You see it mixes up Todd Shaw. He's not in position because they flip-flop with strength, and that time he was not over in his position getting set because they didn't recognize there were 2 tight ends on the field.
Chester Ford has moved into the fullback spot now for the Volunteers. There goes Stewart again. And not much there that time. Lost about a yard on that play.
Chris Hayes doing a nice job there, fighting off a block, filling in the hole. You see him right there in the bottom of your screen. He's going to come up, recognize, and there's the pop. That stops everything, and Russian Field finishes it off. Good recognition. Again, we talked about it earlier. Speed is good, but when you know what you're doing, you can get there faster, and it just enhances or amplifies that ability to get to the ball.
Always nice to get a little help from a friend. Dwayne Patterson helping Chris Hayes get put back together for this 3rd and 9 play. That's Joey Kent going in motion. Here's the screen. Chad Eaton able to make the play. And we might see John Bexford for the first time today. Let's see if Tennessee will try to put some points on the board. They will bring out the field goal kicker, John Bexford. The line of scrimmage is the 27. This will make this about a 44-yard attempt.
Taking a page out of the Cougars book, trying to run that little underneath flanker screen to Stumpy Jones. No avail. This will be a spotted on about the 34, so a 44-yard kick.
Lance Wheaton, a backup quarterback, is the holder. And that one's got plenty of distance. And he missed it. So Bexford, the All-American, continues to struggle. Last week it was Bjorn Merton, the All-American, who missed a field goal in UCLA's only scoring opportunity. And now Bexford misses. And a scoring opportunity for Tennessee goes awry.
Well, he's on the spot that he wants to be, which is the right hash. Let it hook in there, and the ball never hooks. Just absolutely dead solid, perfect, straight off to the right. So Cougars will take over. Hard to believe these fans are saying, boy, nothing's going right our way this year. It looks good from that angle, but believe me, from that end zone, we saw it was plenty wide right, and if it was even close, these officials would have called it good.
Bexford now 2 for 8 this season in field goal attempts, and Phil Fulmer just wondering when something is going to go right for his football team. Bexford has a streak of 131 consecutive extra points made, but struggling in the field goal department right now. 1st and 10 Washington State on the 27-yard line of Washington State. This is Frank Madu. And there's nothing there for the youngster out of San Francisco who had 58 yards on the ground in the first half.
Tennessee really putting the pressure going up the middle. You see there's no movement on the line of scrimmage, and Hines is able to pick his way, find the hole, and drill him. And Hines shows why the coach has elected to bring him into the starting lineup this week. He's a pretty good player. You see the rushing yards. Cougars with 89. Tennessee only managing 61 so far.
Davis wants to throw the little screen. He's got Madu. And Madu breaks one tackle, can't break the second, and he's hauled down for a loss. Raymond Austin, the sophomore out of Lawton, Oklahoma, with a nice play defensively for Tennessee.
I thought this was a good play call when it happened. It was set up well. Davis just kind of punches it out over the top, but there's Tyrone Hines using his speed. Austin finishes it off. So again, recognition that time by Tennessee's defense. See what kind of play call Mike Price comes up with here on 3rd and about 14.
Washington State leading it 6-0. They would love to be able to put some more points on the board to make it a 2-score differential. Cougars at 33% in third down conversions. They'll keep it on the ground. Madu has running room and picks up the first down. How about that? The Cougars go to the ground and Madu delivers.
Frank Madu got some great blocking, and he had the right play called against that defense. This time only 4 men up front. Gallion gets blocked, picked off. Nice job by Kearney Adams just doing the screen, and also by Albert Kennedy, and Coach Levenseller will absolutely eat that up. That's a great job by those wide receivers, allowing the first down to get picked up. That was a big first down.
That was, because this Tennessee crowd was starting to make some noise, and if they would have come up with the stop there, would have been a big boost for the Big Orange. 6:50 left to play in the third quarter. The option to Sparks. And he
Face mask.
might have got about a half a yard, but he'll get some extra on the face mask. That'll be the second penalty of the day against Tennessee.
The option, boy, haven't seen this too much out of the Mike Price era. Chad Davis runs it well, though, and that's the best advice I can give to a young quarterback. If things look like you need to pitch it, let the running backs run with it, because those linebackers hurt you.
Well, I thought you were going to say the best advice would be for the running back to make sure that when he's tackled, they get a hold of his face mask to get
works
extra
too.
yards.
I wouldn't recommend that, though.
They'll call it a 5-yard incidental face mask. Cougars pick up the yardage and retain the down. So it's first and call it 5 from the 44.
Again, Mike Price being fairly consistent conservative has not thrown the long ball here today. This might be a spot, 1st and 5, to go ahead and take a shot at a long one.
Tennessee's had good pressure on Davis when he's wanted to throw. Here it comes again. Davis is going to go down, and he's going to lose 5 more yards. Is that a breakdown by the Cougar offensive line, or is it good coverage by Tennessee that results in the sack?
Well, there was no immediately recognizable opening. Chad's looking up top. You can see it's covered. That's about 2.5 seconds, and it's time to get out of dodge. And he just does get crushed there. Parker coming up from his free safety position to lay the big hit on. So that takes it back to 2nd and about 9, losing 4 on that play.
No tight end for Washington State. 4 wide receivers. Sparks in the backfield. Madu in the backfield instead of Sparks, and a gain of about 4 on that play. Let's go down to the Cougar sidelines to Paul Sorensen.
Hey, thanks, Bud. Key in this thing, Washington State's very conservative. Time to throw the football down the field. Tennessee's jumping all the routes. They're jumping the outs and the curls. Washington State needs to do a little hook and go or post. Take it deep, throw the football. It's going to be open. Cougars need a big play. How about right now? Back upstairs.
All righty, Paul, good to hear from you again and be able to hear you this time. Got that worked out. Madu in the backfield behind Chad Davis. 3 wide receivers to the open side of the field, the bottom of your screen. Here comes the pressure, and Davis can't get away from it. Loss of 6 on the sack, and that one just a straight bull rush by Tennessee.
Well, again, there's nobody open. You've got a great defense. Take the sack. I don't mind that at all if I'm offensive coordinator. I would have liked them to be able to get somebody open, but if they're not open, don't force the ball. Take the sack.
George Martin to boot it away. Sean Summers deep. The snap is low, but Martin does not have any pressure. A high wobbly kick. Summers at the 20. And gets about 4 on the return. So Tennessee gets the football back. And Washington State's defense will come back out trying to protect a 6-0 lead with 4:22 left in the third quarter. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Tennessee set to go. 1st and 10 from their own 25. Peyton Manning will hand it off to the big fullback, Mose Phillips, who just keeps right on moseying and carries the Cougars for a first down. And listen to this Tennessee crowd.
Well, Mose looks like one of these river boats with people packed full of partiers here. He's got 1, 2, 3 Cougars laying a lick on him. I think the Cougars are trying to strip that ball too much. You see Walker trying to get the ball, and then a host of Tennessee offensive linemen move them along forward, but that inspired this Tennessee crowd.
Phillips and Hayden in the backfield behind Peyton Manning. Almost goof up on the handoff attempt there, and the ball well overthrown. Looked like Manning was trying to carry the play fake through so far to Hayden that he lunged at him after Hayden was by him.
He almost overacted too much on that, and Brian Walker was not fooled at all. Chad Eaton gets a good initial penetration. Manning's just going to lob that ball up over the top, and there's nobody home. And that's something that a young quarterback will do, is when you do throw the long one, sometimes you're thinking about how pretty the ball's going to look and how far you can throw it than actually getting it to the guy. But there was nobody open.
The crowd enjoyed it, though. The Cougars have not been able to get a whole lot of pressure on Manning. Here comes the reverse. And there he goes.
High-hose it down the sidelines. Dwayne Patterson just gets sucked in a little bit. Is unable, and then Torrey Hunter, you see him just making a dive, and Nilo is able to outrun Seymour Mobley to the end zone, and that's the first touchdown against this Cougar defense in '94.
John Bexford adds the extra point, and Tennessee has taken a 7-6 lead against the Washington State Cougars. 3:34 left to play in the third quarter. Let's see how Washington State reacts. You're watching Cougar football and the folks here in Neyland Stadium are excited about that spark lit by Nilo Sullivan, 62 yards on the reverse.
Well, this crowd hasn't had much to cheer about at home. Their first game was against Florida, and they got shellacked in that one. So that's really the first time they've scored at home, and this crowd's been, I think, waiting for a while here. All of 3:34 left in this third quarter before they're able to really get up. So Washington State now has to come out, put together a drive. Offense has been succumbing a little bit to the pressure that the defense for Tennessee has been able to apply here in the second half.
Shaheed Evans is deep for Washington State, along with Torrey Hunter, to accept the kick from Bexford. 95,000 plus on their feet. It's Torrey Hunter at the 6. And out of bounds at the 21. Well, let's see if Washington State can mount something offensively to answer the 3-play scoring drive by the Tennessee Volunteers. 48 seconds it took. Nilo Sullivan, 62 yards.
Nilo took about 5.5. The rest of it was Mose Phillips. Well, now it's going to get loud. And as a quarterback, you've got to just make sure that you're able to communicate with people up front.
Madu in the backfield, 3 wide receivers left. Davis wants to throw, has time, and is the catch made? They'll say yes by Kearney Adams at the 26. Pick up a 4 on that play.
Kearney Adams, nice job getting the foot in. That's all you need in college. Good pass protection here. First down throwing. Chad's able to step up and deliver that ball, and bango, 1 foot right in there. Nice job, number 9.
Here comes the crowd again on 2nd and 6 from the 26. The Cougars really have not thrown the ball deep up the field yet. Madu up the middle. Might have got 1.5 yards, 2 yards, depending on the spot. It'll be 3rd and long for Washington State. This Tennessee defense, which had been struggling, has played much better today.
Well, they mixed it up. Stone had lost his position to Shane Burton. Coach Marmee wanted to mix things up on that defensive line, but Stone's in there doing a good job now.
3rd and 5 for Washington State. Tennessee shows blitz. Here they come. Davis gets the pass out. Caught. Jay Dumas has a blocker, and Chad Carpenter. A foot race now. And Dumas hauled down from behind by George Hines, but a big play for Washington State. The ball will be spotted at the 32 of Tennessee.
Big play there by the whole offensive group. Come against the blitz. You got man-to-man coverage. Run the little square out, and there's Dumas. Makes a great catch over the top so he can continue his speed. And Carpenter does a good job blocking on Davis. Good hustle by Tyrone Hines to drag him down. That's 230 pounds chasing 180. That's good hustle by Tyrone Hines, but that'll take a little bit out of that defense.
Carpenter, Kearney Adams, Albert Kennedy to the left for Washington State. Madu in the backfield. Shaheed Evans, the wide receiver on the right. This is Madu, and he's wrapped up by George Kidd, linebacker who was unable to play in the first half because he was involved in an altercation in the Mississippi State game.
At first, the George Kidd.
Call it a gain of 2. 2nd and 8.
2nd and 8. Again, the interior line and the linebackers, Hines and company, have been vacating that middle, and it might be a good opportunity to dump one to the tight end in that little middle zone.
Freshman wide receiver Sean Timms is in the lineup for Washington State. And Davis will try to throw it upfield and basically throw it away. Albert Kennedy, the intended receiver, but good coverage by Tennessee, and it'll be 3rd and 8 for Washington State. And this becomes a big 3rd down play because the Cougars are probably right on the edge of Tony Truant's range to attempt a field goal.
Well, this is a situation for Larry Marmie. If he's going to come after Chad Davis, or are they going to sit back? They've been doing a pretty good job of coverage, with the exception of that last play to Dumas in the second half.
1:35 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee leads now 7-6. Davis has time this time, but can't find anyone. Finds Chad Carpenter. 1st down, Washington State. Nice job by Carpenter to come back to the football when he saw Davis was in trouble.
Chad Davis gets great pass protection here by the offensive line, and also Madu throwing all his weight in there, just sits and waits. There's Burton, but he's able to get it over the top, and Chad Carpenter makes a key catch for the Cougs on this drive. That was a big play right there, folks.
Cougars in the red zone at the 16. Or here in Knoxville, as they like to refer to it, the orange zone. Cougars with a balanced look with 2 receivers either side. Now Adams in motion. Madu, big hole in the middle, and he gets down to about the 13. That hole looked very big at first, and Tennessee closed it off.
Well, again, getting back a little bit at that counter tray action, Ron Lewis and Sanderson are going to come over and fill up the hole. Brown just got a hold, and then Burton is able to slide off his block to close it down. Not a bad play, though, on 1st down. Get a trap. Those guys are, the defensive interior linemen are coming upfield a little too hard to get pressure on the quarterback and trap him, kick him out. Give a little lane for Frank Madu. That's all he needs.
30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Madu in the backfield for Washington State. 2nd and 7 from the 13. Davis throws the out pattern over the head of Jay Dumas.
It's 3rd and 7.
Well, the Cougars have converted a couple of key 3rd downs on this drive, and they're faced with another now with 19 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Chad Davis comes over to listen to Mike. They're almost halfway out on the field there, and Mike's got something special, I think, for this play. They may want to call timeout to discuss it because they're running down on 15 seconds on the clock. Chad's not even in the huddle yet. He knows what the situation is.
Yeah, timeout. Well, key play coming up for Washington State. Little confusion, and the Cougars use their first timeout. 19 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee leads Washington State 7-6. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Welcome back to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. And this stadium, of course, has a water entrance in common with Husky Stadium. And as you saw, it also has the wave in common. There are the numbers on Chad Davis.
Doing a nice job again. taking care of that football, directing the team. Big play here for him, and I think Mike Price came up with something special. Let's see if they pulled something from the back pages of the playbook. Nobody in the middle. Again, the quarterback draw has potential here.
3rd and 7. Madu in the backfield. Pressure. Davis can't run away from it. Sack, loss of a yard and a half, 2 yards. Steve White leading the celebration.
Well, White originally gets ridden out of this play. Nice job by Sanderson. You see him going by there. I thought he was out of the play. Then he comes back and happens to fall into it. That really wasn't too bad a job by Sanderson. He rode him out of the pocket. It just happened that Chad, when he stepped up, moved to his right, was able to make the play.
We will march to the other end for Tony Truant's field goal attempt to start the 4th quarter. It's Tennessee leading the Cougars 7-6. You're watching Cougar football. Bud Namick, Clete Casper, Paul Sorensen, as Tony Truant set to attempt a 32-yard field goal out of the hold of Jay Dumas. Washington State trails by a point. First play of the 4th quarter. Snap and spot are good. And Tony the Toe has put it through again. His 3rd field goal of the day, and Washington State has surged back on top, leading it 9-7 with 14:56 left to play in the football game.
Well, that drive speaks for itself as the Cougars are able to come up big with a couple of 3rd down conversions, get it within range for Tony the Toe to drill it through, and he does his job. So the Cougar faithful, loving this action. This is what you want if you're on the road, is to be in the game in the 4th quarter, sneak one out of Knoxville.
So Tony Truant, 3 for 3 in field goals. The Cougars with a 9-play drive. And now the defense will see if they can shut down Tennessee after Tennessee dented the end zone for the first time against Washington State this year on the reverse to Nilo Sylvan. Cougars dominated the time of possession in the 3rd quarter, 11:29. The Cougars had the ball, just 3:31 for Tennessee, but Tennessee managed to get the ball into the end zone.
Lou Holtz has a great quote about time of possession. The only time of possession stat that matters is who has possession of the game ball at the end of the day.
Well, one thing that Washington State would like to see continue, if you look at the score by quarters on the stat sheet, the Cougars have not allowed a point in the 4th quarter in this season.
It'll be interesting to see how the defense reacts. They haven't been scored on, at least not through the end zone, and they may be a little bristled, a little fired up. Get another turnover. That's what we really need.
Tennessee has turned it over just once, and that led to a Truant field goal. Short kick by Truant. This is Sylvan. Slips one tackle, still on his feet. Todd Jensen finally wraps him up at about the 35-yard line. Here's a look at the Cougar scoring drive. We'll call it 10 plays, 63 yards, used 3:38. Paul Sorensen on the Cougar sidelines.
Thanks, Bud. Appreciate it. Scheme for Washington State. They got caught inside in that 62-yard touchdown run. Watch Washington State try to push it up. Tennessee's been coming to the backside, rushing the football. Cougars really got to get it done. Big defensive series for Washington State. Back to you guys.
First down, and the handoff goes to James Stewart, and he is met by Donnie Sasa, Chad Eaton, and Mark Fields. So a good first down play by Washington State, and Jeff Smith, the big 6'3" junior out of Decatur, an all-SEC player, goes limping off. He is replaced by Trey Peterson, a 6'3", 270-pound junior.
Good play all around by Chad Eaton as he slips off his block and punishes the ball carrier, gets a little extra help from Fields, who's in there.
Second and 10 as Peyton Manning calls the signals. They'll try it on the ground again. Stewart trying to get outside and picks up a couple of yards before he's pushed into the Cougar bench. Call it a gain of a yard. So now Washington State has Tennessee where they'd like to see him, 3rd and long.
Peterson got a whole lot of shoulder pad full of Chad Eaton that time as Jeff Smith had to go off, and Peterson a little cold, even though it's 75, 80 degrees here. Got a big jolt from Eaton. This is a big play for the defensive series for Washington State. They need to hold here. That's what they'd really like. Look like they're a little mixed up. Got to get set.
Out of the shotgun, Marcus Nash and Kendrick Jones, the wide receivers, on the top of your screen. Peyton Manning throws the out, and he's got his man Nash. Does he get the first down? The spot is right on the marker. And they're going to put the nose of the football back a touch. It is going to be very close. They want to move the chains far for a measurement, though. But if you can see there, if the camera angle doesn't lie, it's just shy of the first down marker.
I'm going to guess it's just a tick shy of a first down. As you can see there, 2-3 fingers worth. From the shotgun, a lot easier to see the quick release. Nice throw. These guys are going to be playing catch quite a bit.
Mentioned that Maurice Staley was the #1 high school receiver rated by the Sporting News. Nash #1 by Super Prep magazine. And he was on the borderline as to where he wanted to go to school. But when that man, Peyton Manning, signed with Tennessee, Nash says, where do I sign up? Tennessee's recruiting class regarded as the best in the nation, with Peyton Manning, Brandon Stewart, and the 2 receivers we talked about.
Jeff Smith, who walked off with a little bit of a limp, is back in the lineup at guard for Tennessee.
Let's see if Big Mose Phillips gets the ball. Manning will take it, and let's see where they spot it. With all those players there, I don't know how the officials spot that ball. That's got to be tough.
You throw
it's
out
a guessing game.
Throw out the high and the low and spot it right about here.
We will have another measurement.
Much like Drew Bledsoe, Manning is a big, tall kid, and if he just gets a little bit of movement, he can fall forward.
But that is not a very good spot. They, I don't think, got it based on that spot. Phil Fulmer throws his hat down. Boy, things have gone Tennessee's way this game in terms of calls by the officials, but that one might not have helped them much. Let's see. Oh, nose of the ball.
Coach Fulmer just absolutely irate, throwing clipboards, and didn't do any avail. First down now, though, for Tennessee as they pick it up just by the nose of the football. See if they continue to run the ball.
The answer is yes here, and Stewart is wrapped up and gets about a yard.
Chris Hayes is a very, very good tackler for his size. He's just barely over 200 pounds, and here is Stewart, 218, 220-pound running back, and Chris is going to wrap him up and turn him right back to where he came from. Nice job of tackling there by the young outside linebacker for the Cougars.
2nd and 9. Earlier on this series, Washington State had Tennessee on a 3rd and long, and Tennessee ended up picking up the first down on 4th down. Manning gives it to Phillips this time, who loses his balance. Donnie Sawsaw knocked the big center Bubba Miller back into Phillips on that play.
And then just to rub it in, patted Miller on the head. As he drives him back, that's Donnie Sawsaw just with a bull-like tackle rush over the center, and that takes a lot to move that big Miller kid around.
Well, 3rd and 9 again. Last time it was Peyton Manning to Marcus Nash. Let's see what happens here.
I would guess they'll try the shotgun again. It worked the first time.
Phillips in the backfield to block. Stewart is lined up in a slot position on the right side. Cougars show blitz. Let's see if they come. Now they drop back. Manning has a little time, guns it, caught, first down, and maybe more for Tennessee. I believe it was Nilo Sylvan again with the big play for the Volunteers to the 12. Check it, Kendrick Jones.
Cougars showed blitz, then dropped out of it into the zone. Manning has enough time just to set and deliver a rocket shot. You see where he gets that strength. Walker is not able to make the tackle on the 5'8" Jones, and Stumpy takes it down to about the 12-yard line, and Tennessee is threatening again. 2 big 3rd down plays by Manning.
Chester Ford in at the fullback slot. Stewart, the tailback, first down at the 12 for the Volunteers. This is Stewart. Sidesteps his way to the 10, where he's met by about 4 Washington State players. Well, the Cougar defense has to come up with some plays now. They have been outstanding at taking the football away when they need to. Let's see if they can do it here.
some of the Cougar players being affected by this heat and humidity down here, although it's relatively cool. They've been working hard. See Ronnie Childs with the hands on the knees. They need to come up with something extra down here in their own end of the field.
Ford and Stewart in the backs behind Manning on 2nd and 8 from the 10. Stewart again. And nothing again. But they sure are waiting a long time before they blow the whistles.
Washington State, I think, in their most effective defense when they come up and play man-to-man, bring everybody else against the rush. Absolutely nowhere to run, no seams in this white crimson-led Cougar attack. See, rushing has had enough of Big Mays. So get that hand out of here.
3rd down and 8. Tennessee can get a first down.
I would suspect this time Doble will come after him. He's laid off Manning twice, and he's picked it up on 3rd down.
Here they come. Here's the throw, incomplete. Threw it a little too high for Mose Phillips, and Singor Mobley was there. And the All-American kicker, John Bexford, gets another chance.
The rollout, he's got Mose. He's just having to throw it across his body a little bit, and Singor's right there to punish him, put that helmet right in the spine. It's tough to catch the ball when Singor Mobley's around.
This will be a 27-yard attempt for Bexford. Out of the hold of Wheaton, Mark Holland is the snapper. He got this one, and Tennessee catapults back into the lead with 10-15 left to play in the football game. It's Tennessee 10, Washington State 9. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. Next week in Martin Stadium, and questionable as to whether Danny O'Neil will be ready to play in that game. And you know, you hear a lot about Mike Price and people wondering about Mike, and a great move by Mike Price earlier this week to call Danny O'Neil in the hospital and make sure that the youngster was okay and wish him well, and said he hoped he was back in time to play against Washington State. The kind of things you don't hear often about.
Coach Price is a little unique in that regard. He once he recruits somebody, he still keeps in contact even if they don't come to the school. Scotty Fitterer from UCLA, I know Coach Price really wanted him to come to WSU, but still keeps in contact.
Bexford boots it away, and we'll see what Washington State can do on the offensive end this time. This is Shaheed Evans, who has a little hole and a lot of speed, and a flag thrown in as Evans is run out of bounds and tackled late out of bounds. Bexford, the kicker, making the stop. And again, another one of those flags that came flying from a long way.
Boy, they had it set up nicely, and it's going to be interesting to see if that official who threw that flag can identify the spot where that thing took place, because they're moving this way back.
10-yard holding penalty against the receiving team on the return.
Well, we couldn't see anything there. Shaheed Evans is just motoring down the field, but the officials hit us with one of these long distance penalties that we don't see much in the Pac-10 anyway.
Now Todd Jensen had a little bit of the jersey there of Steve Johnson, one of the special teams coverage men for Tennessee, but that was enough to get flagged. So Cougar football on their own 17. On the ground, Madu breaks it outside, and Madu gets a first down for Washington State. And folks might be able to look back at this game and see this as a coming out party for that young man.
He's run fast, he's run hard, been able to break a tackle. Tyrone Hines getting a full piece of Paul Reed. Nice first down running play. The Cougar offense now here can come down this field like they did the last time and put some points on the board. They owe the defense a little rest here.
1st and 10. Play fake to Madu. Davis rolling, looking for a receiver. Throws it up and out of bounds. Jay Dumas was the intended receiver, and Chad Carpenter with his hands in the air. He was open, but on the far side of the field in a very difficult situation for Chad Davis to get him the ball.
Well, he wanted to get to Eric Moore, the big tight end, rumbling across. The Tennessee defense really didn't bite, as you see the quarterback comparison, and with all the accolades that Manning has, say Mr. Davis is holding his own there.
2nd down and 10 for Washington State. Trips to the bottom of your screen. On the ground. Big hole for Madu. Out to the 47. Washington State creating some big holes and Madu taking advantage.
Well, this is the spread offense at its best, and when you've got 5-on-5 up front, that leaves no one to tackle Frank Madu. Paul Reed just getting a piece. There you see Taylor tied up, and there goes Madu for a big sprint. Takes it up to the 47-yard line. Nice bit of blocking up front, just springing Madu, and he's got that Broussard-like ability to get into the secondary. Great job of getting to the hole and through it.
1st and 10, Cougars at their own 48. Trying to get into the Tennessee side of the field. Kearney Adams in motion. Counter to Madu. And across midfield, they'll spot it near the 48 of Tennessee. 9 minutes left to play in this football game. Washington State ranked 17th in the nation. The Cougars are 3-0. They're trying to stay perfect before hosting Oregon and Arizona in a big 2-week homestand at Martin Stadium.
Again, Frank just settling in behind Sanderson and Lewis, and actually Sanderson and Lewis got tied up with each other. Otherwise, they'd have been able to make better blocks. The running game will work because Washington State is spreading out Tennessee's defense with the 5 or 4 wide receiver package. This time they've got the tight end in.
Tennessee shows blitz, the pitch to Madu. And another Cougar 1st down. Inside the 40. Clay Reese outside with the block that opened up the hole for Madu.
Good running backs love the 4th quarter. And you can see that Madu has the zone. He's in the zone. Michael Jordan-esque type of running ability, finding the daylight, getting through it, and getting up. Big 1st down again. Cougars now at the 39-yard line of the Volunteers.
Madu with 129 yards on the ground in this game. 44 of those on this drive alone. 8:05 left to play in the football game. 10-9 Tennessee. Madu up the middle. This time Tennessee shuts it down. No gain.
Marmee now counters, bringing in some fresh bodies. See Burton, and Madu is now going to tap that helmet saying, I need a little break here. Derek Sparks will come in. No, maybe not. Maybe 5 wides this time with no back in the backfield to give Tennessee something else to think about.
See how Tennessee reacts to this. The short drop. Davis going to have to try to run it. The ball might be loose. It's Cougar football, but it's 3rd and long.
Five wide receivers, nobody in the backfield to block. Chad's got that ball down there low with one arm and looked like it got stripped. I think McCloskey was the one that might have got it back. So big break there for Washington State, not to give up field position at the worst.
And the Cougars in a situation here where they need a 1st down to have a chance to score some points, because even if they get close to the 1st down, it's probably out of Truant's range. 3rd and 13. Flags stopping the play, so it's either an illegal start or formation against Washington State.
Well, it's got to be against Washington State or they wouldn't stop it. So it looks like interior lineman just budged a bit.
Dead ball foul. Illegal snap infraction on the offense. 5 yards.
Like I said, some real sharp eyes down here. McCloskey's going to flinch a little bit. You see Taylor makes a move and he moves his arm a little. Boy, that's a hell of a call right there.
Well, it's now 3rd and 18. And the crowd on its feet in Neyland Stadium. Here comes the pressure from the backside. Davis eludes it, now has all kinds of time, but nowhere to throw it. And goes down at midfield.
Well, Taylor is able to get to Chad. This is a rollout designed to throw something down here. All his receivers, Burton flushes him out, but there's nobody on this side except for the tight end, and he's well covered. And so Chad just has to eat that one again. And unfortunately, the Cougars will have to punt this one away with 6:03 remaining in the game.
And Washington State with just 2 timeouts. They had to use one earlier. Martin will try to pin Tennessee back. Let's see what he can do here. Driving kick that will hit and knuckle back, and Tennessee will start inside their own 5. Nice punt by George Martin.
Like Schrager did to us last week, he pinned him down inside the 5. Nice job.
Tennessee football when we come back. 5:42 left in the game. The Cougars trail by a point. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. 10-9, Volunteers with the ball and the lead from their own 5. Hayden gets out to the 6, maybe the 7 on the progress, and a 1-point game. Cleat, you have to harken back. Same situation when Tennessee had the ball in their 1, and it looked like the Cougars had a safety.
Absolutely. Those are big 2 points that were taken away or just not given to us. Fields with a nice strength move as he's able to beat the block and close down the lane. He's really impressed me this year, is his ability to come into that middle position and hold it down.
Phillips and Hayden in the backfield behind Manning. Hayden again trying to get outside, and there's a swarm of Cougars there back at the 5. Nothing doing for the Volunteers that time.
Well, you're not going to run lateral, at least not much on this Cougar defense, not with their inside-out speed. Chris Hayes, Donnie Sasa, everybody chasing it down. Coach Fulmer is thinking that his defense is up to the task, because he's pretty conservative also down here, but you got to be. You got the lead.
If Washington State holds Tennessee in this situation, it becomes a short field punting-wise for Tennessee, and the Cougars trying to extend their string of having blocked at least 1 kick in every game this year. They'll keep it on the ground to Phillips, and he won't get anything. Donnie saw the ball loose, and Manning covered it. I think they had whistled him dead at the 4, though.
Well, Fulmer was absolutely not going to have anything to do with any type of pass here, as he just dumps it quickly to Phillips, who's down on the play. Donnie Sasa hit him hard, and the ball came ripped loose there by Patterson. And Phillips is not moving, and I think it's that left shoulder perhaps, or no, they're attending to his lower left knee also. Might have got folded back underneath himself as he got buckled up there right at the line of scrimmage.
Now, do you gamble here and go after the block, or do you lay back and just good field position and try to move the ball down at least into field goal range? If you go for the block, the way things have gone today, you got to be careful at roughing the punter.
Yeah, I think with an excellent snapper that Tennessee has, this is a guy that's been really good throughout his career.
He's perfect. He's a 10.
Yeah, so I think I'd try to get a good hold at the line of scrimmage and then get a good return set up, because the kicking team, the punting team, takes an extra second to block down here close. That's on their minds. They're in a tight punting formation, and so you're going to get a good return, so let's hold them up at the line of scrimmage.
Phillips unable to put any weight on that left leg. We certainly wish the best for him and hope Mose will be able to get back and participate in the remainder of his senior season for Tennessee.
The Cougars line up with 10 people, but I would really like to see a return with an emphasis on let's not get a penalty on the return. Let's not block people in the back. Let's just get the ball back in Tennessee territory, because Jay Dumas is standing on the 41-yard line, or I'm sorry, 45-yard line.
Cougars do not come after Holland, and he gets a very good kick away. A high driving kick drives Dumas back to his own 40. Did he outkick the coverage? That's the question. No, he didn't. Still good field position for Washington State. They have 3 minutes and 50 seconds and 2 timeouts to see if they can overcome a 1-point deficit.
This is the position you want to be in if you're Chad Davis. You want to go down and win one for that defense. Nice kick by Hutton out of his own end zone, and good coverage by the rest of the Volunteers. Stewart, the running back, is able to make that tackle.
Frank Madu in the backfield for Washington State. Young man out of San Francisco has had a fantastic game. We got a flag thrown as the ball was snapped.
I think Lewis was just a half a count early, and the referee, Burleson, will let us know.
Have a dead ball foul. Left side of the line move before the snap.
Well, that's not how to start this game-winning drive, if you like. Boy, that's a tough call. That is a tough call.
Mike Price, hands on hip on the sidelines. Got to go with the flow. 11 penalties against Washington State. The pitch to Madu. He tries to get outside. Scott Gallion, the tackle, loss of 3. And old Mo is wearing orange right now.
Trying to get wide on Gallion there and not able to do it. Been successful here and out of different formations. 2 quarterbacks, backup guys.
We haven't seen the screen over the middle. Has Tennessee made defensive adjustments to take that away?
No, they really haven't. Just the Cougars have not gone back to it here lately.
2nd and 18 for Washington State. Davis again is going to have to run it, and he won't get much. He got about 3 is all.
Tennessee able to put the pressure on without the blitz that time. Burton is just able to collapse the pocket a little bit. Chad has to run, and Talley comes in from his outside. Really not that much pressure, but Chad had to make a decision, and when he did, it collapsed on him.
Tennessee very hungry for a win. And right now they're battling. 3rd and long for Washington State. Davis over the middle, incomplete. Cougars will have to punt it away with 2.5 minutes left in the football game.
Well, that wasn't the series that the Cougars were looking for. Shane Burton is able to slip off the inside of McCloskey, and the rollout's supposed to buy us some time. Chad doesn't have anybody to throw to, so combination of pretty good rush by Burton and excellent coverage by the secondary.
George Martin called on to punt it away again. He's had a big game for Washington State. Corey Solomon out of Meade High School in Spokane with the snap. Knuckleball kick that Summers will come up and let bounce. Now he'll field it kind of dangerously, and it will be Tennessee ball at the 24 with 2:22 left, and you can bet that David Cutcliffe and Philip Fulmer are going to keep the ball on the ground. Washington State's going to have to stuff the run and use their timeouts to get the ball back with an opportunity to get into field goal range for Tony Truant, who has put 3 on the board this afternoon.
Well, here if I'm Washington State, I'm thinking a little bit of using my timeouts on defense here. Let the offense, if they do indeed get the ball back, control the clock by throwing the ball in the ground and such, but go ahead and use your timeouts to preserve some time on the clock for this series here with your defense on the field.
Ford is at fullback in place of Phillips. This is Stewart, and he is able to claw forward for a few yards. And let's see if the Cougars elect to call timeout. They do. There's timeout number 2 used by Washington State. 2:16 left to play in the football game. We will take a timeout. We've got an exciting one. The Volunteers lead the Cougars by a point. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. 2nd down and 8 for the Volunteers. They hand it off to Stewart again, and Stewart is met by a number of Cougars and just won't go down. Finally gets to the 30-yard line. He's battling hard. You know, overlooked in what we have seen transpire this afternoon, Cleet. Peyton Manning talked early about being cool, calm, and collected. He has been. He's done a nice job.
Well, in that big drive for their go-ahead field goal, he completed a couple big 3rd downers, and now he's just sitting back, handing the ball off, taking the instructions, and watching the clock tick off.
Well, this essentially is your football game here. 1:45 left. The Cougars electing not to burn the final timeout. Tennessee will let the clock go down as far as they can before they snap it. If they get a 1st down, in essence, the game is over. Stewart won't get it. Now the Cougars have to call timeout and in a hurry. And they're signaling for it, and there's the clock stopped at 1:26. So Tennessee will have to punt it away, and Washington State will get a chance.
No surprises, pretty straightforward. Just hand the ball to the tailback and try to get it. Didn't take any time off the clock like a wide running play might have, but Fulmer did not want to risk that out of bounds stopping the clock.
Jay Dumas has been the deep man the entire game on punt returns for Washington State. It's going to be senior Torrey Hunter this time. As you see Mike Price, Chad Davis, Albert Kennedy on the sidelines. Washington State headed home. 2 in a row in Martin Stadium. Big Pac-10 affairs with Oregon and Arizona. The Cougars, who are on this football team, have never defeated Oregon, and that's really sticking into them. They want to be able to say that they managed to get the Ducks at least once. And then Arizona before a couple of road games to Arizona State and Cal, before back at home for 2 of the final 3 against Southern Cal and the Huskies. Tom Hutton has punted well today for the Volunteers, and now it is Jay Dumas who goes back. During the timeout, Torrey Hunter came back over to the sidelines, and Dumas will be there.
Hutton hit a big one last time here when it out deep out of his own end of the field, and let's see if he can rip another one, or maybe he can just help us out a little by shanking one off over to Coach Fulmer right about the 50.
1:26 left in the football game. The Cougars have used all their timeouts. They can stop the clock with their own offense on the field. They come after, and they can't get him. There's some big time holding going on Childs as Hutton boots it away, and the ball will bounce out of bounds. Ronnie Childs busted through the middle and was trying to put some pressure on Hutton, and his 31 became almost a 131. He was stretched so far. Well, here we go. Chad Davis. And the Cougars will start from their own 23. Mike Price calling plays a couple at a time, I'm sure. The crowd on their feet making a lot of noise. Dumas and Kennedy, the wide receivers. Madu in the backfield. Washington State will need to give Davis some time to throw. Madu on the inside handoff. They can't stop the clock. They got to hustle to the line of scrimmage. 1:09 left. A gamble on the run, and it didn't work. Precious time melting away. A minute to go in the game. Davis calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Whistles. No flags.
Tennessee called timeout. Tennessee had too many people on the field. Talley ran in to his left end, and as he did, he decided to call timeout. Actually not a bad play for him, because the damage as far as the clock running down had already occurred, so it really doesn't hurt things, and maybe not too bad of a decision on his part.
Pretty sight, the hot air balloon over Neyland Stadium. 95,000 plus have been entertained to an outstanding football game. And Tennessee came into this one, Cleat, needing a victory at 1-3 overall. They felt their backs were to the wall, and they've played that way. They have scratched and clawed in this football game.
Well, they've got the one big play of the day. Basically, other than that, it's been the defenses that have been very much in control of this football game. The reverse to Nilo as he high-hoed it down the sidelines, and that has been the difference in the game. Chad Davis now, Mike Price giving him the instructions. Coach Levenseller relaying down what he thinks is going to have to work against this very soft secondary for Tennessee.
And Tennessee going to almost a prevent defense now. The defensive backs 20 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Davis throws it out to Madu, makes a nice catch, but's wrapped up. He was down, but he lost the yard, and the clock continues to move. 2 plays left for Washington State. 35 seconds left in the football game.
Washington State isn't showing much sense of urgency here.
Moore the catch, but he fell down. That'll continue to keep the clock moving with 20 seconds. 4th down play right here. Where's Cordell Stewart? First down and out of bounds for Madu. Stops the clock with 4 seconds left.
Hard to get the plays called. Chad just tries to get the ball to Madu, who's had an outstanding day, for maybe one last flash of brilliance.
The play that Washington State will try to run here, they'll run an out pattern and watch for the lateral to Shaheed Evans. A little hitch and go, if you will. The old flea flicker.
And Tennessee will call timeout again.
Timeout.
And if you think Tennessee was in a prevent defense a couple of plays ago, wait till you see this one. We will take a break and come back with the final play. The Cougars trailing Tennessee 10-9 with 4 seconds left. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest. They need a 66-yard play. And that's all they have is one play. They've got it. The receivers loaded to the right, the top of your screen. And Davis trying to find time. Throws it over the middle. Shaheed Evans catches it, drops it, and that's it. They'll call it a catch, I believe, but it doesn't matter. Phil Fulmer, Mike Price shake hands at midfield. Fulmer sees his team pick up a victory to go to 2-3. Mike Price suffers his first defeat this year. The Cougars are now 3-1 and headed home to open up Pac-10 play against the Oregon Ducks and the Arizona Wildcats. It'll be a long trip home for these Cougars. The Reds by Tennessee 10-9. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Tennessee with the victory over Washington State. You're watching Cougar football on Prime Sports Northwest.